Well, thanks all for staying with us here on Sunrise Live on E as we continue with our issue of the week conversation this morning. Since 2010, the so-called, and you would have seen it in the news, it's called the Dagga Couple, but their names are Julian Stobbs as well as Myrtle Clark, right? They've been fighting to legalize marijuana in South Africa after being arrested for being caught with more than 100 grams of the substance. The whole country has been closely following what has now been dubbed as the trial of the plant. It has been taking place at the Constitutional Court. So not everyone is for this, though. Many groups of people or individuals believe that the use of marijuana is dangerous to not only adults but as well as to young people, and that it should be deemed as illegal to even have it in your home. Earlier this year, the High Court in the Western Cape declared it legal for people to grow and smoke dagga in their homes. Now, joining us this morning to really look at the conversation as perhaps even engaging you on the legalization proposals of marijuana, I'm joined by Alexander Dowding from the Dagga Party of South Africa, as well as Johan Claasen, who is from Doctors for Life. Now, remember, this is an open conversation where you get to engage with us. The number to dial is 011 447 1742, alternatively 1620, and also do feel free to leave your comments on our Facebook as well as our Twitter pages. Gentlemen, thanks a lot for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
So perhaps we should kick off with what's happening. Alexander, I know that you're doing the social media and you're running the campaign for the Dagga Couple. You're involved closely with the trial in itself because you're a member of this team. Okay, so without giving too much and obviously infringing what's happening at the trial right now, why are you guys proposing for the legalization? And also, this is just drawing back from what the Western Cape High Court judge said about legalizing, make it legal to grow it in your home.
Well, the trial at the Western Cape High Court trial was about the right to privacy. It was more to do with constitutional rights rather than dagga itself. So the trial of the plant is looking specifically at cannabis and getting our experts to give their evidence and to find out exactly how harmful it is, how addictive it is, and you know, whether it should actually be legalized.
So you guys don't think that it's harmful, you don't think that it's addictive, and you think that it should be legalized. Is that what you guys are saying?
Well, we do accept that there are questions around harm, but we need to establish exactly what those are, because our current laws are not actually based on scientific evidence, which is why we need these experts to clarify the matter.
So if they're not based on scientific evidence, Alexander, listen to me, Alexander, Johan, from your perspective, what are they based on exactly? Are they based on the right to privacy, when you can legalize it, or is it based on the penalties there are for the use?
Well, may I just say that that is the claim and that's the proposal that they're putting to court, that they're not based on sound science. But in fact, in the case of dagga, we believe it's really is according to science. I mean, if you look at the harms that it does cause of scientific evidence that is going in, that is in the scientific community, the impairment that relates to executive function of people in driving, in the IQ drop. There was a longitudinal study done on this recently, a huge study, one of the largest yet, that shows that it had an 8-point drop in IQ with long-term usage. The psychosis link, the link to cancer, smoking it. And I think it's important to, at this point, also mention, I think there's confusion made in the public about the medicine, because that's where we're coming from a scientific point of view, the medicinal use of dagga as to the plant as a whole, because I think the issues are being conflated. The plant as a whole, and let me make a shocking statement here, has absolutely no future as medicine in any country, because
the plant as a whole has no future in as used
for medical purposes. The reason for that is because of the intoxication part. There are about 700 molecules in this plant, of which there are some which we don't deny, cannabinoids or CBD, that are useful for.
Yes, that are useful for CBD have been, and this is according to a study that I was reading out from, I think it was the Pacific Medical Research or something like that, university, where they were saying that the compounds of within CBD is actually helping to not allow cancer cells to spread. Now, how true are these allegations?
Well, look, I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to get into the specifics of different studies, although I do know that that study still needs to be it needs to be a meta-analysis study. It needs to be something that's peer-reviewed by other universities, other scientists as well. So we don't have any proof that it is usable at all for cancer whatsoever. But we don't deny that some of the molecules in the plant does have some medical effect. And what we are saying is there are already processes within with the Medicine Control Council and so on to allow for such molecules to be registered, tested in laboratory and so on, and to be used as a medicine. We don't have a problem with that. If it is shown to be safe for the public use and for doctors to actually prescribe it and put their head on a block, to put it simply, because they're taking responsibility of their patient-doctor relationship. They've got to be accountable for what they are telling their patients that they can use. So we don't have a problem with that.
So the medical side, I want us to go and expand further on it as well. But obviously, I mean, as we've been hearing from Johan here, they're saying that the plant as a whole has got no future really in terms of medicinal use as such. What do you guys say?
Well, we are actually this Saturday putting on South Africa's first clinical cannabis convention at the Linda Auditorium in Johannesburg in conjunction with Wits University. And our expert witnesses will be speaking at this event. We've already sold about 580 tickets. I think the full capacity is 1,000. So we're hoping for a few more before Saturday. And we're really going to go big on the medicinal uses of the plant.
Of the plant as a whole now, which is completely against what Johan is saying. And in that sense, I want us to take a caller before we go to a break, and then we'll obviously expand further on this. I believe we've got Tebalo on the line. Tebalo, good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
Very well, thanks to you, Tebalo. What's your comment?
I'm very well, thank you. You know what, I can't really find anything wrong with Dagga. As I believe that Dagga is it's one of the herbs that have been used in those old days. And I think, no. Let them continue to use Dagga and let Dagga be legalized and be used in South Africa. It's one of the herbs and one of the old medication that has been used by South Africans and Africans.
Well, thank you very much for that comment there. And of course, keep those comments coming through this morning as we really expound further more on the legal use of marijuana. Should it be legalized? Should it not be legalized? Is it harmful? Is it not harmful? Those are the questions and more that we'll be getting into in a short moment. We're going to hand you over to Kimberly Flanagan. She's standing by to give us the news in Afrikaans, and then shortly after, we'll be returning to this conversation to continue. So do stay with us.